Hello beautiful people, let's get started with today's look. For the face, I use Oma Beauty Trip and Smooth Face Primer. And on my eyes, I use the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Original. For an eyeshadow base, I'm going to be using Juvia's Place Eye Prep Eye Prime, and this is in the shade number 2. To set it, I use my KVD Translucent Setting Powder. The palette we're going to be dipping into is going to be LA Girl Sunkissed Glow palette. I'm starting out by picking up the shade Ombre. I'm going to be focusing this in the crease. Also right at the edge of my upper lash line, I'm really going to make sure that I'm lifting this shade up. So you can see that I am winging it out, but I'm really making sure I lift it up to God, to my eyebrows, to the temples. And then I'm going to be dipping into the shade Explorer. I'm going to pretty much be doing the same placement, but just focusing more within that first shade that I did. So this is going to help with adding more depth to the look. Then I'm going to the shade Constellation. Pretty much just focusing this more so exactly on top of the crease. So again, just building up that depth. So in the crease, and then also building it up on the outer portion of the lid and making sure that I'm winging it out as well. I'm just going to go back in with my brush to make sure that I blend all of that out. With my LA Girl eyeshadow stick, I'm going to be using Suede Fringe, and I'm going to be using this on the inner 2/3 of the lid. This is going to be a base, but also helping with carving out the lid space. I'm starting out by picking up the shade Highlight, so we are going to be doing a little bit of a gradient moment. Very much so, a gradient moment on the lid, so highlight first. After that, I'm picking up the shade Lumi and putting it right next to highlight. And right next to that, we're going to be putting the shade Cosmo. I'm picking up the shade Comet. I'm going to be using this to create a wing. So if you guys look at my lower lash line, if I were to expand the waterline or lower lash line and just wing it up, again, we're focusing on lifting up as opposed to out. And then from there, I'm going to start building up that shade on the outer portion of my lash line, just helping with creating that wing-like shape. I'm using a pressing motion because this is going to be what's best for just building up that shade and getting it to show up on the lid, especially with those shimmer shades that we placed down before. I'm going to make sure that I put this shade on my entire lash line, so I'm bringing it now into the inner portion of that area. With my Oma Beauty Salute to the Sun eyeliner, oh my god, eyeliner, and this is in the shade Chem. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a smudged out liner. So it is going to be kind of, I guess, precise, but a little bit smoked out. So you guys are seeing me switch between putting down some of the product and then using an angled brush to really help with winging it out and smoking it out. It's one of those things where you're going to have that patience to just go back and forth between smoking it out. The thing I like about using a gel liner is that you get more of like this rich velvety look, as opposed to with a liquid liner. I feel like it's a little bit more harsh. Now I'm picking up the shade Endless. I'm going to just be packing this on top. It's helping again with just smudging out, making it a little bit softer on the eyeliner, and then also just helping with bringing back that intensity of that rich dark black color. And I'm pretty sure I went back into the shade Comet and blended it on top of the eyeshadow, the black eyeshadow. I just forgot to show you guys, but we're going to assume that that's what I'm doing right now. Picking up the shade Constellation, I'm going to be using this to deepen up the crease again. So I'm just adding more depth to the look again, just building up that shade. Using a smaller detail brush to really help get closer to where the crease is, and then I'm going to go in with a fluffier brush just to help blend it out. My Amrezy palette, picking up, of course, the usual New Yorker. I'm using this to get rid of the white cast that is there from the eyeshadow base I put down before. With a makeup remover wipe, I'm just going to go in and clean up the edges of my eye look. I noticed that there was an area where I felt like I took a little bit too much of the eyeliner off, so I'm just going back in with my eyeshadow, building it up with a angled brush, and then going back in with the makeup remover wipe to help clean it up. Off camera, I applied my color corrector, but I'm going to be going in after that with my LA Girl tinted foundation, and this is in the shade Walnut. With a damp beauty blender, so it's damp with water, I'm going to blend everything out. And I always say this in case you are unfamiliar with this foundation, it is light to medium coverage. So I like to blend it out first, and then in any of the areas where I feel like I need more coverage, I'll go back in and add more and blend it out as needed. To contour, I'm going in with my Oma Beauty Double Take Sculpt and Strobe Stick. This is in number 3. For concealer, I'm going in with my Oma Beauty Stay Woke concealer, and this is in the shade Brown Sugar T2. I like to let it sit on the skin for about 10 minutes, then after that I will go in and blend out my contour first, and then after that I will go in and blend out my concealer or highlight. The reason why I like to let it sit on the skin is because I like to get the maximum coverage from the products, and I feel that when you leave it on longer, that's how you get it to do that. And I definitely picked this up from Jackie Aina. I'm pretty sure it was Jackie Aina who said this, where you just let it sit on the skin and then blend it out to just get the maximum coverage from these products. From the excess concealer I have on the Beauty Blender, I like to use that to carve out the lower or underneath my cheekbones to really help add depth and chisel out that area. And from any of the areas where I feel like my concealer has like a harsh line between my foundation and the concealer, I will go back in with the Beauty Blender end that I use for the foundation, as you guys are seeing me do now, and I will blend it out. For cream blush, I'm going in with LA Girl, and this is in the shade Grace. What I like to do is I like to put this product on the back of my hand first. I just like to thin it out, like have a nice even thin layer on my hand. Then I'll go in with a damp beauty blender, pick it up, and apply it to the skin. Because it is a cream blush, It is going to kind of disappear and look more subtle under the skin once I set it, so I'm not too I don't go too easy on it. I like to pack it on a little bit more. And then to set, I'm going in with my KVD translucent powder and my Oma Beauty Tripping Smooth powder in the shade Honey. I like to mix these two and I apply it to all the areas where I highlighted with a damp beauty blender, and yeah, just blend it in. The reason why I like to mix these two is because the translucent powder from KVD has more of the color that I want. Like, I want to use it to lighten up the yellow. Well, let me expand on that more. So Honey is more the color that I like that yellow hue, but I do want it to be a little bit lighter because I noticed that when I just put Honey on, it actually makes my concealer a little bit deeper than I would have liked it to be. So I like to mix them so I get the perfect consistency from the powder itself and also the right color. To set everywhere else, I'm going in with my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deep. To bronze, I'm going to be going in with my Colored Rain bronzer in the shade Naughty Spice. I'm going to be setting my entire face, so I'm just going in with my setting spray. I like to fan off for a little bit, and then I'll go in with my beauty blender that is still damp, always damp, and pressing it into the skin. Off camera, I'm going to be doing my eyebrows, but I'm going in with the Crayon Case Eyebrow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown. Now I'm picking up my Oma Beauty eyeliner again in the same shade as before, Chem, and I'm going to be focusing this on the outer portion of the lower lash line, and as well for tight lining. Now here's the thing about tight lining, like I've seen other people do it and I see what it does, but then when I do it, I'm like, am I doing it right? Because I don't know if I see that much of a difference. I don't know, but anyway, I went in with this product to tightline. Now I'm picking up the shade Endless from the LA Girl Sun Kiss Glow palette. I'm going to be using this to set the gel liner, so this is just going to help with making sure that it doesn't budge or move around. Then I'm going to be picking up the shade Constellation, and I'm going to be focusing this right underneath where I placed that black liner. So this is going to help with adding depth on the outer portion of the lid. Now with the shade Explorer, I'm going to be using that on the rest of the lower lash line. I'm going to make sure that I blend it out and just be super careful with like using a lighter hand where I had placed that deeper brown shade, and then a heavier hand where I really want the full intensity of the color. Then, as usual, picking up the shade New Yorker from the Amrezy palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm using this to just clean up the lower lash line and to help diffuse those colors. From Oma Beauty, I'm picking up their mascara. This is in the shade Chem, and I'm going to be using this to apply to my lashes. For lashes, I'm using Super Baddie Kawaii, and these are in the style Just Just. I'm going to be grabbing my Colored Rain Power Collection, and this is in the shade Damage Control, and I'm going to be using this to apply as blush today. For highlight, I'm going to be using LA Girl's highlight. This is in Sunkissed Glow. Now I'm grabbing my LA Girl Jet Setter liquid liner. So I'm going to be using this to create that inner fox eye look. I'm focusing first on just extending the lower lash line as if it were to go further in towards like my nose area. And then from there, I'm going to be focusing on lifting up the eyeliner to the upper lash line. Just making like these little small triangles, if you will, and just building up as needed. Next, I'm grabbing my Oma Beauty lip liner, and this is in the shade Adieu. For lipstick, once again from Oma Beauty, this is in the shade Sade. Going in with my setting spray, spraying, fanning off for a little bit, and then of course going in with my beauty blender to press everything into the skin. And here is the completed look. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye guys.